Hello everyone, and welcome to the Roottrees Are Dead. In this game, we are going to be playing an armchair detective. It was originally released on itch.io for a game jam, and I was originally going to play the original browser version available on itch.io, but after seeing that the creators have apparently done quite a bit of work in cleaning the game up for Steam, I decided to go ahead and just purchase the Steam version. So the game that we will be playing here is the full re-finished version available on Steam. Here's a summary of the game. The year is 1998. A private jet belonging to the Roottree Corporation has just crashed, and on it were the Roottree Sisters and their parents. Combined, they were worth over $1 billion. Now, due to the eccentricities of their great-great-grandfather Elias, their money must be redistributed to the rest of the family, but who's actually a blood relative? That's where we come in. Armed with only the power of our mighty dial-up modem, we'll scour for photos, books, articles, and other evidence. Then we'll make the connections and deductions based on the family relationships we uncover. With every spot on the tree we fill incorrectly, the names and photos left in our possession will have fewer and fewer places to go. But the evidence will also be harder and more obscure to find. Can we put together the final pieces of the puzzle? I don't know about that, but I'm willing to give it a go. Without further ado, let's get started. Oh, actually, I wanted to read this. They are calling it one of the most deadly plane crashes in Pennsylvania's history. All passengers and crew perished. Pittsburgh is generally known for pleasant flying conditions, and the weather was not atypical for this time of the year. We don't know much at this time, but our sources tell us that local authorities do not suspect terrorism. The crash did not cause any local property damage, and fortunately nobody outside the plane was hurt. Funeral plans have not been announced, but you can be sure that the Butler County Times will cover it to the best of our abilities. A spokesperson for the company has asked that people respect the family's guilt? We'll find out.
The plane that crashed last night just outside of Pittsburgh is now known to have been the private jet of the Roottree Corporation. Local aviation authorities have speculated, based on the pilot's final communication, that the winter storm and heavy winds played a significant role in the crash. On board were multiple family members, including corporate president Carl Roottree and his daughters, the Roottrees Sisters, best known for their fashion lines and modeling careers. There were no survivors. Again, for those of you just joining us, the Roottrees are dead.
Oh.
I know it's late, but I'm guessing you've seen the news. In addition to dealing with the grief, the Roottree Company's lawyers are scrambling.
Didn't expect the full voice acting, but I'm really excited about it.
Everything's about to change. Anyone proven to be a blood relative is about to get much richer. I'm here to ensure everyone is accounted for. I've heard you're an expert at sorting out complicated family trees. A genealogy genie, as it were. I'm going to give you a quick test. Pass, and I can promise you the job of a lifetime.
Oh, I'm concerned about this. Okay. Siblings are in birth order. Examine the evidence, search the internet for clues, fill in names and occupations. Then the photos. Okay, so one of them was married. Okay. Very interesting. Let's go ahead and... Is this the evidence at the bottom? Yeah, okay, cool. Got milk picture? The person who hired you gave you this photo with a note attached. This was taken during the shoot for the Roottrees Sisters Got Milk ad. I've tracked down a test photo from before they painted the fake mustaches on, which I thought would be more appropriate considering the circumstances. The ad's copy reads, "You might recognize our faces from the magazine you're reading. Or you might recognize our name from the candy bar you're eating. Being a root tree is a full-time job, but so is growing up. That's why the calcium found in milk is so important. Plus, you can't make chocolate without it." This is really cute. We have a list of names. That is a lot of names. This list was provided to you by the mysterious person who showed up at your door. You'll need it to fill in the family tree. Women... Oh gosh, that's a lot of names. Welcome to the information superhighway. A cashew PC. Oh my gosh. If you find anything interesting, be sure to print it out with your included high-end color laser printer. Or burn a music CD to listen to later. Cashew PCs are inedible. Do not try to eat your computer. Aw, man. I was just about to give it a little nibble. That noise is so familiar. Okay. There are a lot of obituaries that focus on the Roottree Sisters' modeling careers. You also come across an unofficial Roottree fan site, seemingly curated by a teenager. It's neon pink with purple text and hard to read until you highlight the words. The young webmaster writes, "Raina is the most famous because she's the oldest and got married to TMS, but Riley is the smart one. Rose is a middle child like me. You might think they're rich because they're models, but their dad is also the president of the candy company, and their mom, Brenda, is a fashion designer. They do modeling for her brand, Root. I eat Roottree candy all the time. My favorite are maple crisps, and try to dress in plaid Root clothes like Riley does in most of the posters. Someday I want to get my ears pierced like Rose." The website's author continues to talk about her own life and what she likes about the Root fashion lines, but none of it is relevant. Okay, so Raina is the oldest and is married to somebody named TMS. We're gonna make a note of that. Riley is the smart one. Rose is a middle child. Okay, so pretty sure Raina's oldest, obviously. Also, the H's in all of their names are very interesting. Oh, I did not mean to. Okay. So it's Raina, then Rose, and then I'm going to assume Riley is the youngest because there should only be 3 of them, and the other 2 have already been given a birth position. So they are models. Can their professions just all be model? Can I drag this? Oh no, it doesn't look like. Okay. So, Raina. I already forgot who I wrote down. Oh my gosh. Okay. Riley is the smart one. Rose is a middle child. So this is Rose. Huh. If someone isn't in the list of names that your employer provided, doing a deeper dive on what you learn about them will often lead to additional discoveries. A good research tip is to make note of any brand names, books, product lines, or magazines that you don't recognize and search for them. Okay, interesting. Could Rose's name just be R-O-S-E? No. It doesn't look like. Could it be November? Interesting. Okay, so it looks like they're supposed to all be models, but I feel like that's got to be a little bit misleading because that seems like a little bit too easy, you know? I'm also not quite sure why Rose isn't showing up on that list. I feel like it has to be some sort of a nickname, like her, or maybe her middle name. Let's see. Rose Roottree is not as popular as her older sister Raina, but still very well known. Most of the time, they're lumped together as the Rootree Sisters. Unfortunately, the results for Rose by herself don't lead to anything different than when searching for her sisters together. Can't find what you're looking for? Okay, and it's repeating what we saw earlier. So there was that brand the mom designs for, Root. Mom's name was Brenda. Okay. Maybe... You stumble across an auction for a black and blue dress that is a Brenda White original. The auction describes it as a vintage dress from before Brenda became Brenda Roottree and started designing clothes for Root. The dress itself doesn't seem relevant. Okay, so her maiden name is Brenda White. Carl Roottree was their father, the president of Roottree Candy Company. The Roottree Sisters. Okay, so let's look at this again. Riley dresses in plaid Root clothes. And Rose has her ears pierced. Okay. So Riley dresses in plaid, and Rose has her ears pierced. Let's look up Carl Roottree. He was the president of the clothing company Root, which he co-founded with his wife. Interesting. Once we finish placing the Roottree Sisters in the family tree, it would be wise to repeat this search. That's interesting. I wonder if one of the girls isn't his. Oh! Could it be Rose White? Wait. No, there's no whites. Oh, wait, no, I was... No, that's Brenda White. Oh, I got so excited. Well, Riley was married to TMS. That can only be Thomas Sheridan. So let's put that in really quick. Sheridan. Okay, so we know that. I'm just gonna put model in there for all of them right now. Not that I think they are all models, because again, that seems way too easy. So, Roottree Sisters got milk. Let's see. Let's see if I look up any of the other root trees, if I get more data. So their modeling careers, okay, the period is part of the name. Root is a clothing company. They make clothes for children, from toddlers to teenagers. Although their website is down, likely due to increased web traffic, you find countless retail sites attempting to advertise their clothes towards the target audience. One of them has this to say: "You've spied the Roottree Sisters looking hella fly on catalogs, magazines, and posters. Now you too can be like Riley, Rose, or Raina." You also come across a website from a collector of clothing catalogs. Apparently, Root has released 2 catalogs per year every year since 1984, and Raina has appeared on almost all of them. There is only one that the webmaster considers a collector's item enough to mention. It appears that Brenda Roottree, the Roottree Sisters' mother and Root's head designer, appeared on one cover holding her daughter Rose in 1985. The site says that this was the only time her daughter was ever listed with her birth name, Carly Roottree. Okay, cool. Let's just highlight this whole section. And Rose equals Carly. Okay, so let's put that in. Alright. And were they all models? I'm not quite sure about that. Riley always dresses in plaid. Oh. So, okay, this is probably Riley. Okay. So Riley dresses in plaid. I think Rose, they said, has her ears pierced. But let me double check that. Yeah, Rose has her ears pierced. So this has, there we go. Oh, okay, so it auto-completed. Okay, so we've got 3 of 50 blood relatives now.
Sorry to test you, but I had to be sure you could use the internet. Some folks refuse to get with the times. Safe to say, you're hired. The reward for untangling the family tree is substantial. Life-changing, even. But here's the catch. The root trees go way, way back. The family tree's a bit daunting. Most people freak out the first time they see the whole thing. But I'm sure you'll be fine. The man who started it was particular about whom he considered family. For your purposes, you only need his direct blood relatives.
No! I accidentally fast-forwarded past one of the bits of dialogue. Shh, darn it. Okay. Anyone related but only by marriage is optional, but filling them in can lead to useful discoveries.
Lastly, you now have access to some unique websites, plus a list of notable root trees. Notable people are easy to find via your search engine, and marked with stars on the family tree. I'm off for now. Carl Roottree had a lot in his office. I'll look for anything useful. I'll return once you identify 6 more blood relatives.
I love our Riot Girl poster, by the way.
Sorry, one last thing. This might sound odd, but if anyone else claiming to represent the Roottrees reaches out, I'd appreciate you not mentioning I was here. Thank you, and good luck.
Okay, I'm curious as to what she's hiding. Well then. Oh, goodness. Every time you get 3 additional blood relatives in the family tree completely correct, name, occupation, and portrait, they will be locked in. All non-blood relatives and small portraits are optional, but placing them in the tree helps remove extra names and photos. Okay. We can open this envelope after the whole family tree has been filled in. It has 2 names that must be typed in manually. The cues are obscure, have been intentionally hidden in the past, and may even require some leaps in logic. Try to keep an eye out for any inconsistencies. Okay. Family trees use surnames from birth even if the person changed their last name after marriage. Always use a person's most recent occupation. Okay. So, let's start with their parents. We know this was Brenda White. And we know this was Carl. We have his picture. There's new evidence, so I assume this has his picture in it. I love the little drawing of the dev in the, I assume that's the dev, in the news. That's so cute. Sorry about that. I've been waiting to play this all day. I refuse to get tired. Not quite yet, at least. The Roottree Sisters and their parents died in a plane crash on December 6th, 1998. The next evening, a shadowy figure appeared at your door and said that lawyers were looking to sort out the family tree. After a quick test, the figure gave you access to some resources. This included a list of notable Rootrees who they said would be the easiest family members to place. They said they would return in the time it took to fill out 6 more blood relatives. This is a list of the notable Rootrees. The person who hired you gave you this list and said everyone on it could be found easily via your search engine. So, okay. Any entry on the family tree that belongs to someone on this list will be marked with a star, and I assume spouses are not included here because Carl Roottree's wife would most likely have been very easy to find. Okay, Intuition. You've been in this line of work a long time. So long, in fact, you've developed a sixth sense about how useful your evidence can be. The numbers in the magnifying glass refer to how many clues are connected to a specific piece of evidence. The higher the number, the more there is to find. At the start of our search, the notable list sets off alarm bells. A list of famous people that you can find via a search engine. It's pretty rare to get something that useful. Best take advantage of it. As we progress, those numbers will change. Wherever we find more evidence or lock in family members, new discoveries will be added to the search list and old evidence will become less useful. Trust our intuition. If a piece of evidence seems too good to be true, take a closer look at the people or phrases it mentions. Often, the most satisfying revelations come from retracing a path you thought was fully explored, armed with a new perspective. Sometimes the reason certain evidence has such high value is because it can lead to finding more evidence. You may be missing a huge piece of the puzzle. That's pretty cool, not gonna lie. This is an advertisement for 5 pieces aimed at kids from the magazine Teen Blast. It mentions that the 5 pieces were named as such because the original creator had 5 children. The ad also mentions that the current 5 flavors are not the same as back then. What even is an elderberry anyway? Maybe that's why kids still love them? Cool chocolate, so strawberry, bad blueberry, raspberry, awesome apple, power plum. Okay. Let's see if we can look up Carl Roottree and find a picture. Okay. I don't see any images. So this must be super early internet where there really weren't that many images. It looks like they have a little bit more in the article. I suppose an obituary must have been released in the meantime. December 6th, 1998. It's with a heavy heart that we mourn the loss of Carl, Brenda, the Roottree Sisters, and the other employees that perished in the terrible tragedy. The entire Roottree family is in shock and requesting privacy at this time. As the head of our company, Carl was an incredible man and an unmatched leader. Filling his absence will be difficult and may take considerable time. In the interim, we hope that you join us in looking back fondly on Carl and his family's triumphs and accomplishments. They go on to list some of those accomplishments. One of them seems relevant to your search. Like his great-grandfather before him, Carl earned the highly prestigious Watchman of the Year title. This might be something that we can search periodicals for. Darn, what was the name of the newspaper? Let's see if we can just search with... No. Okay. Okay, so it seems like the periodical that was shown in the starting scene is not in our evidence. So I doubt that that's going to be the periodical that we need to search to find the great-grandfather's name. He was a CEO. But we need his picture. Where would we find pictures? In periodicals? Oh, okay. They have some search tips. Ah. Okay, cool. What about the public library? Let's see. Oh gosh, okay, so we're not gonna find anything here unless we have the name and the book title. Let's see. Let's see if there's anything under Roottree Candy. Mixed in with the recent news of the plane crash, there are a lot of results for Roottree's extremely popular candy products. Their official website is unstable due to the traffic it has been receiving. However, we'll find a direct link to the history section that manages to work momentarily. The Roottree Candy Company was founded shortly by Elias Roottree shortly after he married his wife Gwyneth, whose family owned a small farm called the Anderson Maple Farm. let's just highlight that. So, Elias, Roottree, and Gwyneth Anderson. For reasons that aren't explained on the page, it has no CEO and no stockholders. Instead, it's run by a president with input and votes from the extended family. The site does mention that every president has been a direct descendant of Elias and Gwyneth, including Carl Roottree, who, despite his death, is listed as the current president. The product that put them on the map were 5 pieces, maple candies with 5 different flavors that are dipped in a crispy, crackly candy coating. Since then, they have branched out to countless other products, all of which incorporate maple in some way. Their sister company, simply titled Root, specializes in children's clothing. The primary models for Root are the Roottree Sisters. Okay, so he's not a CEO, he is a president. I assume he's the 5th. So wait, if it's his great-grandfather, he'd be at least the 3rd. If his grandfather founded it, he'd be at least the 4th. If his great-grandfather founded it. But I'm not sure if it maybe went to another brother in between there, because if it goes to the eldest brother and the eldest brother dies, it might pass to the second oldest, in which case he could be 4th or 5th president. I'm not quite sure. Let's go ahead and fill in their names. Okay. He was the first president. And he had 5 children, and that's why the 5 flavors of 5 pieces. Oh dear, this is gonna be a lot. For now, let's just assume that this is right. I don't have any portraits available. Let's see what happens if I just do this. Okay. Carl Roottree. What is the Watchman of the Year award? Business Watch magazine is a magazine focused on companies, CEOs, and the economy. They've been around for over 100 years in one form or the other and will often write about major changes in management at famous companies. Every year they offer an award to a prominent businessman who has furthered the field. They call this the Watchman of the Year. You can find through a few searches that 2 Roottrees have been featured as Watchmen of the Year, Elias Roottree and Carl Roottree. Okay. So Carl is his grandfather? Business Watch. His great-grandfather before him. Carl earned the prestigious Watchman of the Year title. Oh! Wait, I believe they said that Elias was the great-great-grandfather. So in which case he is the 5th president. And Carl is... Wait. Elias Roottree is his great-grandfather. Oh. It's the girl's great-great-grandfather. So his great-grandfather. So he was most likely the 4th president. Okay. Let's go back and make that change. Oh, I already made that change. Dang it. Okay. So we can probably look up Business Watch magazine. And Carl Roottree. He was voted Watchman of the Year in 1987 for his work with Root. The cover and a summary of the article has been added to your evidence. Okay, so let's see if we can get a picture of Elias here as well. He was awarded Watchman of the Year in 1936. So this must be Elias. Oh my goodness. Handsome devil. Elias Roottree was voted Watchman of the Year by Business Watch in 1936, and a painting of him appears on the cover. The magazine says he was voted Watchman of the Year specifically to recognize the global rollout of 5 pieces. Inside the article is a timeline of 5 pieces. 1908, Elias forms the Roottree Company after marrying his wife, who inherited a maple farm. During the period before 5 pieces, the company was barely profitable. In 1909, Elias has a daughter, the first of 5 children. 4 more to follow, leading to, in 1922, Elias invents 5 pieces. Each of the 5 flavors is chosen based on the initials of his 5 children, 1 flavor per child. Okay. And the oldest daughter, the oldest is a daughter. Five pieces are first sold in some Pittsburgh markets in 1924. 26, 5 pieces is rolled out to all of New England. 28, the new recipe and flavor is finalized, and the candy begins nationwide distribution in department stores and other shops everywhere. 1935, the Roottree Candy Company purchases every maple farm in Pennsylvania in preparation for their global rollout. With the help of his son Elias Roottree Jr. in 1935, he owned an architecture firm, a new industrialized factory and warehouse were built in Butler County. So Elias Roottree Jr. is an architect There's also a What's Next section that claims Elias is going to pivot to ensuring his company's legacy and that the Roottree Candy Company remains a family business. He plans to do this with the Clanced Trust. Interesting. I forgot to click the previous one. Darn. Okay. Carl Roottree was voted Watchman of the Year in 1987, and a photo of him appears in the cover. According to the cover, Business Watch is the magazine for and about corporate leaders and has ongoing coverage of who's who in the corporate world. Carl was not chosen for his work at Roottree Candy, but rather a clothing company, Root. There's a brief history. Before they married, Carl's wife Brenda was a fashion consultant. When Raina was born, Brenda retired to become a stay-at-home mother. Looking for a creative outlet, she spent any free time she had at the sewing machine. Raina's new clothes were a hit amongst other parents, including Carl's cousin Jim Roottree, a notable singer who had a young daughter around the same age as Raina. By 1982, Brenda's patterns were being copied by other brands. Seeing the demand, Carl and his second cousin Ernie Jr., who had just become the president of Roottree at the time, spearheaded Root. Okay, so actually he is the 5th president. Oh, no. There we go. Other blood relatives who have a say in the company's finances refused to fund anything other than candy, so Carl personally spent his entire inheritance to bankroll the clothing company. When the profits first began to appear, however, the rest of the family changed their tune. Surprise, surprise. They repaid his investment, and now Root exists under the umbrella of the candy company, and they all benefit. Per tradition, or perhaps superstition, new clothes always debuted the way the first ones did. Raina became their catalog's cover model. As she grew, the product line expanded to older kids as well. Her younger sisters were then recruited to show off the baby clothes. Carl was voted Watchman of the Year primarily for his personal gamble and the ensuing payoff. Okay, so this is a daughter right here. Carl's cousin, Jim Roottree, was a notable singer who had a young daughter around the same age as Raina. So one of these people so it would be this one. Actually, this is most likely Jim. Wait. Carl had a cousin, Jim Roottree. So would it be James, I wonder? Ah, he is the singer. Okay, so James Roottree and Diamond LaRue. The duo, according to many sources you find, is considered a one-hit wonder due to the disco song Rollin' On Down to the City. It's now in our evidence folder. Although Jim writes the majority of songs, plays the guitar, and often sings, Diamond is considered by fans to be the band's lead singer. The band has never had another hit, but its fans who refer to themselves as Diamond's Dazzlers. The rest of their music is more folksy and acoustic than the one song they were known for. Jim and Diamond have continued to release music throughout the 80s and early 90s. Other albums you'll find mentioned are Cherry Tree and Sound of Laughter. Jim has become a bit of a recluse, and he hasn't made a public appearance since 1996. Okay. So, this has to be James. He was married to Diamond. And he was a musician. Okay, there we go, Diamond and Jim rolling on down to the city.
We're rolling, rolling, rolling on down to the city.
Only the great-grandson of Elias Roottree could make disco this sweet. That's a hell of a pun. Scene in MMM. Okay.
We can't afford gas, so we skate in the streets.
Guys all rush to say that I'm pretty.
Ladies blush and find me so witty. They're out of luck tonight, what a pity. We're rolling, rolling, rolling on down to the city.
I'm having too much fun listening to this, like way too much fun. Rollin' On Down to the City was barely a top 20 hit for a few weeks in 1979. According to the liner notes, it satirizes how a part of society was content to remain indifferent to economic inflation and civil unrest in the Middle East, unless pop culture tricked them into caring. Somewhat ironically, listeners didn't seem to pay attention to the lyrics enough to trick them into caring. Instead, most of its play came from roller discos. Because it was such a product of its time, it doesn't get as much play anymore, even on stations that play oldies. Maybe that's why you've never heard of it before now. This image is from an auction for a sealed copy. It has a sticker that says, "Only the great-grandson of Elias Roottree could make disco this sweet." It is credited to Peter Jonowitz from MMM. So Peter featured Jim and Diamond and MMM. So we can look that up later. Okay. Okay. Music and lyrics by Jim, vocals by Jim and Diamond. Roottree is on the notable Rootrees list, and your as evidence, he will be marked on the chart with a star. The lyrics of this song contain no clues, but it includes the lyrics anyway. Okay, so we have Carl, we have Elias, we have a picture of James, we have a picture of Diamond. I think your second cousin is like your parents' cousin's child, I think. I could be wrong about that though. Let's see. So the only other people with the stars are Gwyneth. Oh, I didn't even realize that you could collapse that. Okay, so we have these two done. So we just need one more. I am thinking this has to be his second cousin, because if the previous president passes away and has a child, then why would the company be given to Carl and not the child? So I think this has to be the second cousin, Ernie Jr. Oh. Ernie. Oh. Ernie. Okay. Is he not a Roottree? Jim Roottree had a young daughter around the same age as Raina. Carl and Ernie Jr. spearheaded Root. Oh, that's cool. I didn't realize we could have like a larger overview of all of our evidence. That's pretty nice. Oh, neat. So we can narrow this down like that. Okay. So you know what? Let's go with... I wonder if Gwen Roottree was the eldest daughter of Elias, because that would match up. Because her mother's name would be Gwyneth. Okay, you find some information on a website about old films that are not yet available in VHS. The site is not very well organized and the search is broken, but you can get to individual pages from your search engine. Gwen Roottree is a somewhat well-known actress who was active in the 1950s. Let's see. She often appeared in tabloids, especially around the time of her highly publicized divorce. Gwen. 1950s, active, divorced. I believe that the great-great-grandfather was given the award in 1937 or 38. So her being active in the 1950s and being divorced at that time would actually line up fairly well. Gwen Roottree's biggest role was the minor hit movie Guys Like Us. She left Hollywood after the flop of Christmas Mission. There's a widely circulated picture of Gwen from behind the scenes on one of her movies, which you've added to evidence. Did you know trivia? Gwen was the granddaughter of Elias Roottree, the founder of Roottree Candy. She shouldn't have been named Roottree, but her father took her mother's famous name, which was quite rare in those days. Okay, so that means that Gwen is the daughter of the eldest daughter, unless he had other daughters. Wait. No, this might... Yeah, they split up. Okay, so this has to be Gwen. Not Ernie. Okay, so that's Gwen. And she was an actor. And this is a picture of her. This photo is a widely circulated photo of Gwen Roottree. You've seen it on multiple websites about old films. Gwen Roottree is on the notable Roottrees list, and your evidence shall be marked on the chart with a star. Okay. So this has to be Gwen Roottree. And here's a picture. Yes. Awesome. Okay. All right.